A lot of people use the excuse or say that, hey, I'm really busy. I've, got lots of stuff to do, little time. Well, hey, that's the answer for
Hey everybody, I'm Ethan,
And I'm Sean.
and welcome to episode 5 of Vitamin E Show. So last time we talked a little bit about bulking, and today we're gonna do part 1 of a 3-part series, a little bit more focused on fat loss. So a couple of topic today is going to be cardio mainly. Cardio, yeah. So I don't think anyone really likes cardio. We're gonna try to give our best advice how to make it a little bit more manageable, less miserable, less boring. I don't know. You can use lots of words there, but just overall a little bit easier to maintain. How about that?
Definitely.
So you have lots of different types of cardio. We have fasted cardio, we have steady state cardio, we have HIIT cardio. We've got pre-workout, post-workout, and we've got you can do it a different session. You've got HIIT style circuit training. You've got tons of different options when it comes to getting your cardio in. So I'm just going to lead out with kind of what my favorites are, what I like to do. I'm cutting right now, so kind of talk a little about what I'm doing, and you can kind of give some of your favorites, and we'll cover whatever we miss. So sound good? Yeah.
All right, yeah.
So I do fasted cardio every morning, Monday through Friday. We come up here at 8 o'clock, which anyone's welcome to join us, by the way. But it's just 30 minutes, low intensity. To figure out the heart rate range, we just take your age, subtract it from 220, multiply by 0.65 and 0.75. It'll give you, two points there, and you use that as your range, and it'll you keep your heart rate kind of lower in that area. Make you sweat a little bit, but it's really not too bad, and it's just geared towards fat loss, and that only works, in my opinion, the most effectively fasted. So you can come do that type of cardio later in the day, but you're gonna have to do hour and a half, 2 hours, just to get the same benefit I get at 30 minutes fasted. So in my opinion, that's the way to go. Steady state cardio.
Most people have a hard enough time getting 30 minutes in, period.
So much less an hour and a half.
Exactly.
So that's the way to go, in my opinion. It's what I like to do. I personally could not do it if I didn't have a workout partner meeting me up here. There's lots of mornings I wake up and don't feel like coming to do cardio. I don't really have a problem wanting to get the lift session in, but sometimes that cardio is rough. So accountability isn't a big factor for me with cardio, but that, and then if I'm, for any reason I need to get some extra cardio in, I prefer HIIT training post-workout. So whether that be sprints on the treadmill, whether it be high intensity intervals on the elliptical, whatever, it doesn't matter. Just some sort of HIIT training post-workout is kind of my go-to secondary if I don't do fasted cardio. What do you like? What are your preferences?
I definitely love the HIIT style training. Generally more of the speed intervals, like on the treadmill. Initially, I started out doing it. It was a great way to train for conditioning for rugby, playing with the Birmingham Vulcans here. And it's just kind of simulates that kind of stop go style of play. And then I really started learning the benefits of it and how much more of an effective workout I can get. Taking 15 minutes of speed training, starting out walking about a minute and a half at like a 2-3 mile an hour pace, and then picking it up to like an all-out sprint. Sometimes trying to work my way up to 14 on the treadmill just for those 30 seconds, and then slow back down, recover from there. I can get the same benefits as far as fat loss goes and cardiovascularly as I can in 30 minutes to an hour of steady state cardio, just walking, which I hate being on the treadmill in the first place, so I want to spend as little time as I can on there, and it's for the everyday person. And a lot of people use the excuse or say that hey, I'm really busy, I've got lots of stuff to do, little time. Well, hey, that's the answer for
a lot
it.
more time efficient.
Yeah, and to be honest, it was also a thing of a little bit of laziness out of my part. So hey, like as little time as I can and get the benefits. Exactly. So
yeah, no doubt.
But you have to be real with yourself sometimes. So
yeah. Well, I like what you went into detail there. So I'll dive in a little further. Let's talk a little bit why you mentioned more effective than steady state cardio. So let's kind of explain that a little bit.
Okay.
So the reason why HIIT training is so much more effective than steady state cardio, if you come in here, average person post work or post whatever you're doing with your life up until 5 p.m. and you come in here and do a workout session, you hop on the treadmill for 30 minutes. You burn probably 100, 200 calories and no body fat and went home. The reason why, steady state cardio, before you're ever going to get to a point where you're going to burn body fat, you have to burn through the glycogen stores in your muscles. And, for the average human being, that's 45 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes. So you literally have to do an hour of steady state cardio if you're going to do it in the evening time after you've eaten several times to burn through just the fuel you put in your body that day before you can ever even start targeting body fat. So that's why I prefer fasted. I'm lazy too. I don't like HIIT intervals. I fucking hate sprinting. I don't like it. My knees hurt. I don't want to do it. So I do fasted cardio first thing in the morning when I haven't eaten for 12 hours. So there's no glycogen stores. I'm fresh, low intensity, just straight to burning body fat. And that's, it's, we say it all the time, it's not the early bird that gets the worm, it's the bird that knows itself the best,
Exactly.
So you got to know what works for you. You got to know what you're realistically going to do. An imperfect plan that you follow is better than the perfect plan that you don't. I imagine the perfect plan is, a mixture of all the above, but, time and preference. I don't want to do HIIT. I don't want to do cardio for hours on end. So 30 minutes fasted cardio for me is pretty much how I live my life.
And it also a little bit deeper into it, it's probably a topic for another video there, but doing long periods of the steady state cardio isn't the best thing to do for people like peri and postmenopausal women there as well. So spending those longer times on there aren't going to be nearly as beneficial.
And it's bad for anyone's joints.
Exactly.
Long steady state stints of cardio is not great for your joints. Aren't meant for that. So regardless of how healthy you are, when really long term, unless you're specifically training for athletics and you're choosing to make that sacrifice, you are sacrificing your joints to an extent. So I don't like it for that reason either. Let's talk about our favorite though. Let's talk about HIIT training, like circuit training for cardio instead. So HIIT training, circuit HIIT training can definitely be done with resistance for like lifts, not necessarily a hypertrophy lift, but just create some resistance training to activate some muscle fibers, burn some extra calories, that kind of thing. But if you want to do more HIIT circuits for cardio, I would suggest more full body movements, things like burpees and battle ropes and push-ups and pull-ups and things like that activate large percentages of the muscles in your body that burn really a lot of calories, and it will get your heart rate up. And so just to give you an idea of what that looks like, I mean, there's several different ways you can split this up. You could do 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off. If you're in better shape, you do 60 seconds on and 30 seconds off, or maybe do 30-15. There's all type of different variances you can do for that style of training. I prefer 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off for one round full, and then come back and bump up to 45 seconds on, 30 seconds off, go another round, come back and bump it up to 60 seconds on, 30 seconds off. Progressive overload, that's what I like. And if you do one circuit of like 3 to 4 exercises and repeat that 3 times, it's going to take you 15-20 minutes to do that, and that's plenty of time for HIIT cardio.
Exactly.
You were going to exercises at home for like that style of training. So if you can't get to the gym, or maybe you want to do cardio first thing in the morning, we talked a little about a routine, a circuit that you could do at your house, no equipment required. You could buy like a kettlebell or something to make it a little easier, but no equipment required. So that's kind of Sean's cup. He's going to dive into that, and
So there's plenty of stuff that you can do to get a very, very effective workout. Like you said, without using anything or picking up something that you might have laying around the house there. It's a general HIIT circuit. I like to say start out maybe 2 groups of 3 exercises. So for the first group, you've got a movement like squats, a big compound exercise, a little bit more intense, and then something like a plank, less intensive, but you're still again working into that core, getting a static hold movement. And then something like push-ups, again kind of alternating, a little bit more intense, getting that upper body kind of full, well-rounded. Doing that for starting out 2 to 3 sets, 3 sets at a time, doing them for about 45 seconds to a minute, based on where you're at starting out. For the average person, very, very beginning, not working out, I'd say do each exercise 45 seconds a piece. start out with 2 sets, and then after those 2 sets, kind of take a rest, and then move on to the next group with something like lunges, which would be more of like an isolated leg exercise.
More cardiovascular demanding too.
Exactly. It's gonna it's gonna take a lot more energy. Doing all those same movements on one leg at a time.
Right.
And then something like a crunch movement, like a sit up or a V up or whatever
Less
it is
intense,
there.
engage the core.
Again, less intense. Still getting a variety of the core. You got the static hold, and then more of the crunch type movement. And then something like if you have a pull-up bar or something, a pull-up, or even just like a bent-over row. Grab a few books or a backpack or suitcase and stand over and get a row in.
Bucket of water.
And anything that has
use
a
anything.
little bit of weight to it.
Yeah, there's tons of options there to make it work at home.
Exactly.
Like I mentioned, also you could buy your little kettlebell, keep it at the
Mhm.
house. You can go to Walmart and pick up a kettlebell for under $50 and get
Mhm.
whatever weight you need, just about. So something like that would work as well. That one piece of equipment. Then if you do have a kettlebell, you could add in like kettlebell swings and some other neat
Yeah.
exercises just with that one piece of equipment.
Exactly.
Yeah. I like it. So that again, starting out. Real quick, let's clarify the rest there. Rest in between those 2 circuits. You said take a little rest, not too
So-
much though.
Yeah.
So probably I would say if you really need it, max so 2 to 3 minutes. But
Exactly.
you want to probably keep it around 1.5 minutes, right?
Yeah, so overall, like kind of recapping, 45 seconds at each exercise, 2 sets for each of the groups there, and you've got 2 groups of 3 exercises. We'll put a little link in the description there to kind of guide it out a little better for you. But yeah.
Okay, yeah. Also, with fasted cardio or any steady state cardio, really cardio in general, but especially steady state,
Mhm.
you need to be swapping it up often. Change equipment you do it on, change the venue. Instead of running on the treadmill, run outside. Instead of hitting the treadmill, hit the bike, hit the elliptical. Always change it up because your body adapts very, very fast. Very, 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 very fast. So what we generally do when we come in is we do 15 minutes on the bike. That also kind of helps loosen up the hamstrings and lower back before starting that first thing in the morning. But we usually start out on the bike and then swap to the treadmill or elliptical or something like that. So we can generally hit a couple pieces. You don't have to do 30 minutes of whatever you're doing. You can break those up. Just don't pause in between. Just go right from the other. Always try different things. So
Definitely.
as far as recommendation on frequency per week, if you're doing the HIIT training that we just talked about, whether that be at home or at the gym, you can do that less and get more bang for your buck. So maybe 3 times a week, add that in. Or if you want to do the fasted cardio, you could do 3 times a week. But I would say, try to get on a weekly routine, do it every morning. You're not going to burn calories as fast that way. But if you're more concerned about holding on to muscle mass, I would advise fasted cardio over HIIT training, unless you're really knowledgeable about just protein uptake and catabolism of the muscle during that workout. So if you know what you're doing there, go for it. But it would be a little more effective for hanging on to muscle to do fasted cardio, in my opinion. But just my opinion.
Mm-hmm. And then when you're doing those HIIT style sessions there, in general, like you said, about 3 times a week, but you want to make sure, since it is full body exercise each time, you generally want to have about 2 days rest in between working the same muscle groups there. So kind of give yourself some time in between those every other day. Split it off. You might alternate some days through the week. Maybe like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday is decent. If you could do like a Monday, Thursday, one day over the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and kind of keep cycling that way, that'll be a pretty good split for you to start out with.
Right. And with that, also the reason why you can do it less often is, you hear it's deemed all the time the afterburn effect, but people are just talking about, your muscles just consume nutrients at a more rapid rate post HIIT style training. So over the next 24 to 48 hours, you will burn extra calories just doing nothing as a result from HIIT training. You have to push yourself harder, a bit more intense, but it is more effective that way as far as you can do less and get more out of it. Not saying you should do less, but you can do less. And if you are not already regularly hitting it, like you said, give yourself a couple days in between. If you're a bodybuilder and you're looking to cut, you could safely do this for 15 minutes post every workout or in the morning. That'd be totally fine. But all right, guys. Well, part 2 of this, we're going to dive into training protocol on fat loss. So we talked about the cardio element today. We're going to talk a little about the training protocol as far as your actual lift sessions. And then the week after that, we're going to dive into the nutrition, get some tips, tricks, and guidelines for nutrition for successful fat loss. And yeah, man. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next week.